Restored to dignity. She walked into NA, literally, and was treated with more love and respect than she had ever been. For this Mexican woman, a chance encounter on the beach opened the door to hope and freedom. Restored to dignity. Obsession and compulsion were present in my life way before I started using drugs. From the time I was very young, I had a problem with the way I used drugs. How I ate, with the way I used things. How I ate, watched TV, slept, bit my fingernails, and demanded attention from others. My family's history is marked by war, armed conflicts, and migration. My parents left Poland and went to Chile, running away from World War II. I was born in Chile the same year there was a coup, and my mother sought political asylum in Mexico, where I was raised. I always felt different. I was never able to determine exactly where I was from or where I belonged, and I had difficulty relating to other people. I didn't have any concept of God because I come from a leftist family that is deeply atheist. I lived in isolation. I was desperate to belong, to be accepted, and to have friends. When I was 10 years old, I went to a party where there were drugs and I got high for the first time. I passed out and a couple of men put me in a sleeping bag and almost kicked me to death. They were also using and thought it was fun to hurt another person. I accepted that I was going to suffer whatever was necessary in order to hang out with people who used drugs. I felt that I had found the key to enter into other people's worlds. Sometimes I wonder how I ever thought I could control my using. From the first time, it was a disaster. I cannot say at which moment drugs became the most important thing in my life, but the degradation progressed rapidly. I didn't obey any rules. I constantly ran away from home, and I learned to exchange sex for drugs, shelter, food, and protection. Honestly, I didn't feel anything for anybody, but drugs made me feel something. Nothing else mattered. I was still shy and afraid, but as long as I could get loaded, I could lock myself up in my own world where nothing could touch me. I didn't know that there was a God, but I knew that hell existed, and I was living in it. I harmed a lot of people, especially those who loved me the most. I graduated from school only through the blessings of my higher power. After graduation, I went to work and found that having money meant having drugs, and that meant having power. I believed I had my life under control. If I had drugs, I could buy other people and make them do what I wanted. But there weren't enough drugs or money to fill the huge gap that I had inside of me. I couldn't relate to anyone who was not using. I had boyfriends who didn't use drugs. They were good, loving men who wanted to be with me, but I saw them as inferior, dumb, and boring because they didn't use. All those relationships ended quickly. Pretty soon, I returned to the same place, selling my body, cheating, and stealing to continue using. I was arrested. I had street fights and physical confrontations with my family. I would wake up in the street with barely any clothes on because I had pawned or lost them. It didn't matter who I used with. Anyone who had drugs could go to bed with me. After every moment of crisis, I would convince myself that it wasn't so bad. I could try it once more. When I didn't have drugs, I destroyed everything around me. I cut myself or I hit my head against the walls and doors. I also hit other people. I ended up alone because nobody could stand to be around me. There were holes in the doors of my apartment from all the times I hit my head in desperation. My life was horrible. I had lost any kind of hope that I could change. I didn't have any idea that Narcotics Anonymous existed. I believed that I had to keep using. I didn't imagine that there were alternatives. Neither my family nor I could afford to pay for a treatment program. I was introduced to Narcotics Anonymous in a very strange manner, which kept me from being able to close my eyes to my own life. I found NA on a beach on New Year's Eve. There was a group of addicts celebrating their recovery around a bonfire while I was going crazy looking for drugs. I literally bumped into them. I was so high that I couldn't talk. I had no idea who these people were, but they seemed so happy that I thought they probably had some good drugs. I was excited when they invited me to sit with them. I thought they were going to give me something really powerful, and I was going to get higher. Instead of giving me drugs, they treated me better than anyone had before. They didn't ask anything from me. They just stayed with me, and that made a difference. They waited a few hours until I was able to speak, and then they told me, if you want to, you can stay clean, just for today. I can't explain what happened in that moment, but I spent my first day clean with NA members on that beach. I thought they were funny, and there were a couple good-looking boys, but deep inside, I didn't believe them. I couldn't believe that I could be able to stay clean. However, that day passed, and I didn't use. When I went back to the city, I had 5 days of clean time. 5 days I had spent with members of Narcotics Anonymous I had never met before. As soon as I got to my house, I knew that I would not be able to stay clean alone. I ran to a meeting. When I got to my first meeting, I was dirty, alone, and afraid. But I felt the care and concern of the members I had met, and I wanted more. Those days I had spent at the beach were sensational. No one had hit me or humiliated me. I had not done anything wrong. I was tired of my life and myself, and I didn't have anything to lose, so I opened the door. I began to attend meetings every day, and I stayed clean. I didn't know exactly why I was in the rooms of NA, or why I continued to come back, but I wondered what those people had. The sparkle in their eyes, the smiles, the indestructible light that recovering addicts have, which has helped me to recover. What happened to me is truly a miracle. I am still clean, ever since that first encounter with NA at the beach. Years have gone by, and now I live with dignity. My first months clean were beautiful, because I was being taken care of. I hope that all addicts who are seeking recovery have the opportunity to receive as much love and attention as I did when I first came to meetings, because I got just what I needed and much more. I followed suggestions when I got to NA. I attended 90 meetings in 90 days. I found a sponsor, and I began to work the program. It wasn't as difficult as I thought. After a while, I felt so good that I thought I didn't need as much help, and I could attend meetings less frequently. It's not a new story. Other NA members have shared similar experiences. My recovery process has been more painful because many times I have lost the willingness to change, and my defects of character have ruled my life. I hold on to resentments, especially when I feel I have the right to be angry. But resentments harm me more than anyone else, and they don't allow me to move forward. So I continue trying to forgive. I also need to learn how to receive guidance, because I still don't always react appropriately when someone offers me a suggestion. I've never liked being told what to do. But the feelings I get when I'm with members of NA, when I go to meetings, or when I attend a convention, is such that I eventually do the right thing. Today, staying clean is the most important thing I can do. To accomplish that, I need the 12 steps: a sponsor, a higher power, and service. I have lived through many bad experiences clean because I'm stubborn. I tend to prioritize other things like my work, my mate, and fun. When I do this, my life becomes a disaster. I am not a quick learner, but I'm beginning to understand that as long as I take care of my recovery, everything else will get better. Today, Narcotics Anonymous makes more sense to me than anything else. Giving to others fills me up more than drugs, sex, food, or money ever did. I have a higher power now, and that makes me feel more tranquil. I trust that no matter what happens, I won't be alone. Today, all things are better balanced. I am very dramatic. When I don't get what I want, I suffer too much. I must learn to allow things to happen, always doing the best I can. But the emptiness I feel today is not as deep as it was in the past. I am not very stable emotionally, and I have occasional obsessive thoughts. I still have a lot of work ahead of me, but nothing compares to the nightmare of using. I know that I don't have to make this a storm in the glass of water. There's a lot to be done for the fellowship in my country. There are more meetings now than when I met the program, but many people still don't know that Narcotics Anonymous exists here. I didn't know. Today, it is my commitment to let everyone know that we exist, because I don't want addicts like me to believe that it is not possible to recover. Life on life's terms has ups and downs. People I loved have passed away. I went through a divorce and I lost a job. But I no longer hurt myself the way I did when I was using. I don't cut myself and I don't bang my head. You have taught me that today there is no reason to use again. I want to be here and to be a part of all of this. To feel that I belong to this fellowship has been fundamental to staying clean. I once thought that if I survived to my 13th birthday, I would kill myself. All my idols were musicians and artists who died young from overdoses. Today I'm 32 years old and love to be alive. The best experiences of my life have been to see how the eyes of an addict who begins to recover don't have that look of death anymore. Seeing that awakening is worth more than anything. Forever and ever, thanks for opening the door of life to me.